Hello, good afternoon. My name is Bridget Bouvier and I work for Canopy MLS. I'm also part of the broker relations team, and we are here to help you get the tools you need to be successful in real estate. Today, we're going to talk about Supra for list agents. We're going to go over all the features in the app that include adding your Keybox to your inventory, assigning your Keybox to your listing, setting up the settings to make sure you're getting your showing notifications and your customer feedback. We're also going to take a look at the laptop and desktop version of Supra called SupraWEB and see how you can get those settings up in that platform. So let's take a look at the eKEY app. At the very top of your app, you're going to see a welcome to the eKEY app. And right underneath that is your key serial number. It's also located under your More tab under My Keys. Supra identifies Canopy MLS as Carolina MLS DBA Canopy MLS. And this is going to be important once you're entering your information in to get the non-member access set up. Anytime you're within the app and you need to go back to the home page, if you click the home icon in the top right, you'll get back to your home page. You'll also notice that Carolina MLS DBA Canopy MLS is listed right here on the banner. All right, so let's get started on how to add your Keybox to your inventory. If you tap on My Keyboxes, you can tap on the banner, Add Keybox, enter your shackle code, press up on the bottom of the lockbox and release it to activate the Bluetooth. And once your Supra eKEY app and Keybox connect, your Keybox will be added to your inventory. Now, some agents will own their lockboxes and they can add their Keyboxes to their inventory one time. If you belong to a firm that lends lockboxes out from a bank of lockboxes, you can add your Keybox to the inventory, but remember to delete that once you're finished. Another way to add your Keybox to your inventory is by using the Open Shackle feature. So you'll select this box and add your shackle code. You'll select a reason. If you are just adding it to your inventory, you can select none of these. If you are adding it to a listing, you can add this section here and you'll select Done. And that's where you'll put the house number or the MLS number in and hit Save. I highly recommend using your MLS number. And the reason is if there is another listing in your area that has the same numbers, the app may assign the lockbox to the wrong listing. So go ahead and use your MLS number whenever possible. And you'll want to come up to this sentence here and click the On button for Add Keybox to Inventory. And that's super important to make sure you get your showing notifications and also you get customer feedback. So let's take a deeper dive into what you can do to your Keybox, how you can program it, and convey some information to the buyer's agent. So right here, you're going to see that I do have 2 Keyboxes in my inventory. I'm going to click on this listing right here. And at this point, I can edit the information. So I'm going to click on Edit Keybox Data. And I'll have some very basic information here. I can have my name. I can enter some phone numbers, maybe email. And if at any chance that you do need to turn this back in, say your listing's closed, you got paid today, and you're moving on to the next listing and you need to turn this in, you can delete this information and add a new MLS number right here. At this point, you can also add some information to the listing flyer area, or you can add a note to your agent so they get some updated information. Say you just reduced the price. Now, let's say that this is your own lockbox and you have closed on your listing, and this lockbox is going to go right onto your next listing. You can click on this number here and backspace and add the new information, and then your assignment has been updated. The next section in this area is Program Keybox. Up here is some general information. Again, if you're borrowing a lockbox, you'll want to check your battery level and make sure that it's got enough life in it to get through that listing period. If you own your lockbox, you can change the lockbox code by simply tapping on that number, adding your new shackle code, and clicking on Save. If you want to add your call before showing number here, you can. And the call before showing number is an extra layer of security. So let's say someone is familiar with the call before showing, they want someone to have 2 bits of information before they can get into the lockbox. You can activate that there. You can toggle on require feedback, and you can also change the time that someone can enter into your lockbox. You do need to toggle on the time access right up here. And then you can change those time periods. Let's say you have somebody working second shift. You can click on that, scroll up, say they don't want anybody in the listing until 1 o'clock, hit save, and now this has been updated from 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Let's say they don't want any showings during the week. You can toggle that completely off. And then once you do anything in this section, you do have to program the lockbox, which requires you connecting to Bluetooth. Now we're going to take a look at showing notifications. You can set this up to show up to 7 days in advance. You click on that bar, and this will explain to you who has come into your listing. And if someone does come into the listing and they get a notification that, hey, has the showing ended, you can go ahead and tap yes. That way your list agents can let the sellers know that they can come back to the property. So you'll see this one here has an actual begin and end time. And this one here has timed out because the buyer's agent did not respond. And then if you do have showing feedback and you need to either give showing feedback or you've received some, you'll get a little icon here that's added to this row. All right, so let's take a look at some of the settings under our More tab. For list agents, it's very important that you have your automatic update turned on, your locations turned on. Audio feedback is optional. Vibrate feedback is when you do get a notice that someone has entered your lockbox, your app will vibrate. You do need to have your eKEY notifications on. This is the toggle that you need to turn on if you choose to use that call before showing input. Out of 10 years of me working in the MLS, I've never heard of someone using it, but it might come up if someone had been a realtor in maybe a former career and they want that extra layer of security. They require a PIN once per day. That's a handy little tool if you are showing multiple listings in one day. You can toggle that on. As long as you have a password protection on your phone, that will work. This is the tab that you'll want to go once you're setting up your non-member access. So we're going to click on that. This is where your eKEY serial number is going to come in handy. You need to enter that into your PIN number. And that's the PIN number that you chose when you first got your Supra key set up with member services. And then you'll click on the down arrow and choose the correct MLS. And then you'll be able to log in. My phone has memorized that for me, thank goodness. So here you can check out some reports that are available to you. You can check out your listing reports. You can add a report about your activity, or if you need just some information on one lockbox, you can create that report. And you can also create an inventory report. You create the email and a nice handy dandy report is sent directly to your email that you have on file with the MLS. You can assign a listing directly from this tab. You're going to select the lockbox you're working with. I only have one that's available, so you might have several listed down. Here, you'll click on your lockbox number, add the MLS listing ID, and select Assign. Easy peasy. This is the area where you can check to see if you need to give some feedback reminders, or if you need to look at the feedback that you've received. And on this section is non-member access. We're going to take a deep dive into how to get set up once we get on SupraWEB, but this is the area that you'll click on and you choose your lockbox from the drop down. You can either grant access, modify access. I understand the revoke access will not work if you've already given them access and they've already entered the listing. Then you will select next. You'll add that non-member's cell phone number, select a time parameter between 2 hours and 72. And then if you need to add a message, let's say you want that person to leave their business card, you can type that in. Or let's say you've just refinished the floors and you want them to wear booties, or maybe there's a cat in the back room, don't let the cat out. You can add these little notes here and then select submit. Anytime that you are preparing to give a non-member access invitation to a non-member, you'll want to definitely check your office policy in advance. You'll want to communicate with your seller and get them on board in writing, preferably, just to make sure that you're okay with sending in a non-member. And what can a non-member be? Perhaps a photographer, maybe a plumber, maybe a home inspector from the buyer side. So this is a handy tool that Canopy MLS has enabled through the Supra system to help you along doing your business. So let's go ahead and jump over to SupraWEB. So before you get logged into SupraWEB for your very first time, you do have to register. So open your laptop or desktop and type www.supraekey.com. You'll get to a page, and on the right top, you'll see an orange rectangle. Tap on SupraWEB, and you'll get to this login page. And if this is your first time, go ahead and register. The registration page looks like this. You'll have to choose a user ID, which can be a unique ID, doesn't matter what it is. You'll select your password, enter your challenge questions, enter the code so the system doesn't think you're a robot, and select submit. Once you get logged in, you're going to get to a dashboard that looks like this. Now on the home page, after you get set up and you have some showings on your listings, you're going to see a list of everybody that has come into your lockbox and has ended the showing. So each little icon here, if I do have a house icon on like this one on the top right, it just means I have a lockbox that has not been assigned and it was entered. So I did that, so I know that everything's okay. Then you have your icon for showing feedback, the start showing, end showing, and that it timed out of the system. So that's a bit of information to have right at your fingertips. You know who's gone in your listing. If you need to change the time parameter on your report, you can click this link here, and it shows how many showings you've had and the feedback count. And then if you want to click on your feedback reminders, if you needed some information, then you can do that as well. And so let's move on to our listings tab. Again, we have another legend that tells us all the icon meanings. So you have your showing activity, email showing agents. So if you do have an update on your listing and you want to give everyone that's showed your property in the last few months some updates, say the price is reduced, you can do that. Your cog here are your listing details. If you need to program your eKEY app to sync everything, you'll get that icon, and then grant non-member access. So let's go ahead and see what's nested underneath your MLS number. These are all the listing details associated with your Keybox and your MLS number. If you need to change anything, you can change it here. These showing notes like agent note here and the listing flyer, those can only be updated on your eKEY app. If you want to add some questions to your customer feedback, you can add those here, up to 10 of them, and that is done from SupraWEB and cannot be done on the Supra eKEY app. And if you want someone on your team copied on the accesses when someone's come into your listing, you can add their information here. You add their phone number plus the suffix of whatever cell phone provider that they use. And then, of course, select save. Let's go up to the second tab, and this is just an overview of what you have on this Keybox. And this is your non-member access page. So go ahead and click on Grant Non-Member Access. And you're going to get the page that's specifically associated with that Keybox. Before you can get this set up, though, you have to actually enable it in the settings. And you'll click on Settings, click on Non-Member Access, put a check mark next to Enable Non-Member Access, agree to the terms and conditions, and select Save. Once you do this, you're going to get a green bar at the top saying that you've enabled it, and then you're good to go. Then you can come back to your listing and you can click on that key icon and get back to the page where you can add that person's cell phone number, check the time parameter between 2 hours and 72 hours, add your note, and then hit submit. So I'm going to go back over to my listing and review that. So that's your key. And then once you get to your key there, you add that cell number of the non-member, select 2 hours to 24 hours, 2 hours to 72 hours, update your notes, and hit submit. All right, very good. Another thing that you can look at is you have some reports. You have your showing report, your key activity report, and then grant non-member access report. So if you were working as an assistant and your agent wanted to find out where the non-member accesses were for the month, you could create that report. And I'm going to go back over to settings, and you can create some specifics when someone is responding or when you want to get customer feedback. You'll click on general email. So let's say one of those listings had reduced in price. You want to get that notification. You have to slide down here to add, allow listing agents to send me updated emails on each listing that I have shown. And you can create your signature page here. Okay, now we're going to go over to our home button again and click on Add Keybox. That's the first thing we did in the eKEY app. So you can also do this from SupraWEB. You're going to add your Keybox, add the serial number of the Keybox, add the shackle code. And if you're not assigning it that this time, just click Add Keybox. However, if you're assigning your Keybox at this time, go ahead and add that listing number. Once you select Add Keybox, your listing has been assigned. So let's say you've already got all of your Keyboxes in your inventory and you're ready to assign a listing. If you click on the down arrow right here, you're going to get a list of all of your available lockboxes. I only have one that's available to me, so I'll click on that one. And then it's already assigned in the system with the serial number and also the shackle code. And it's just asking me for the MLS number. I'll click on that. And then it's assigned here using SupraWEB. While we're in here, I would like to show you the Keybox links. This is just a list of every Keybox that's in your inventory. So you'll see that I have one that's assigned to my fake listing, and I have one that is unassigned. So at this point, you see that red X there, I can actually delete that from my inventory. So if I borrowed that from my firm, then I can go ahead and delete that. And here is that handy legend again with some explanations of what all the icons mean. So you can refer to that. And while we're here, I want to go ahead and show you what it looks like from the non-members perspective. So they're going to get an email, they're going to get a text. And it's going to look like this. And then they'll be prompted to begin a registration. In that registration page, they'll need to add their name, their phone number, their email, their company name, company phone number. They select a 4-digit PIN number and agree to the terms and conditions. Once they do that, they'll be able to download the Supra eKEY app. The Supra eKEY app looks a lot different than our app. It's very limited in what they can do. They can only access your listing during the specific times that you said it was okay. Once they download the app, they're going to see activate eKEY app. They're going to have to add their email and their PIN number and submit the request for the authorization code. The authorization code will go straight to their email. They'll open up their email within their phone and click on that, and that will fill in the blanks here. When they're getting authorized, they have to agree to the terms and conditions, the ULA and the privacy policy, and accept the permissions. And once they do that, they'll be able to get in. And remember, they only have to do this one time. And you only have to register on the SupraWEB one time. I'd also like to share with you our new rules for home inspectors. So recently, we've updated our Canopy rules and regulations to state that when a home inspector makes an appointment, they are the only person that can access the lockbox. So some of the home inspector companies make the appointments for their home inspectors. They need to make sure it's noted that they are the ones on the appointment, it's confirmed, and they access the lockbox. So in some circumstances, buyers will want to attend a home inspection. That's allowed. However, if the potential buyer will be present for the inspection, then a licensed real estate agent must also attend unless express written permission has been granted by the seller or the seller's representative for the buyer to attend the inspection without a licensed real estate agent. Before we end our presentation today, I'd like to go over some pro tips with you. So if you are getting a listing coming up, be proactive, go ahead and get registered with SupraWEB and get your non-member access settings set up. Again, you'd only have to do that one time. A nice feature about SupraWEB is you may share your credentials with your assistant. If you need help granting invitations to your non-members, then you may go ahead and give your assistant the credentials and they can do that for you. The non-member only has to register one time and they need to do so in cell phone coverage. So you might want to remind them of that. And also, if you do have a listing that is out in the remote areas of the mountains or up there in the Catawba area, you'll want to remind your buyer's agents, maybe in buyer or agent remarks, to go ahead and update their app before they go out for showings. And you can do that for your non-members as well. And I've added some phone numbers for you to help you in case you need some assistance. I'm always available unless I'm teaching at 828-318-8888. Our member services is available between 8:30 and 4:30, Monday through Friday. If you're out and need assistance on Saturdays, our MLS support team can help you from 8:30 to 3. And then if you're needing assistance on Sunday or in the after hours period, you can open up your app, tap on the More button, go under About eKEY app, and you'll find Supra support number right there at your fingertips, and you'll get some help straight away. The last thing I wanted to share with you is our training schedule. We do have a few more classes in the series. If you'd like to join up for another featured program, you can go ahead and look to the training page. It's in Matrix under the Help tab. You'll slide on down to training and find a list of all of our classes. If you were interested in having a trainer come out to your office and would like an in-person training, we're also doing that. The requirement is 5 students or more, and it needs to be within 60 miles of our home office. For more information on this, please email brokerrelations@canopyrealtors.com or call 704-940-3133. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I hope you join me in another class, and take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.